Being a digital nomad isn't about freedom, it's about structure. You go online and you see all of these people working from cafes in Bali, and you just assume that they must be influencers or trust fund kids, but ultimately, that couldn't be further from the truth. They just have simple service-based businesses. I've been living remotely for 7 years, grown a 9K a month marketing agency, and I've coached 147 founders into monetizing their skills using this exact 3-step blueprint. So in this video, I'm going to share with you the 90-day roadmap to build a 5K a month business that you can run from anywhere in the world. Okay, so what does success look like as a digital nomad? Okay, first we're going to define success as building a 5K per month revenue. Okay, I've stated 5K per month because that's the exact amount that you need to be able to live anywhere in the world, whether that's Europe, whether that's Mexico, whether that's Southeast Asia. As long as you're not living somewhere like the US or the UK or Singapore where prices are pretty extreme, then this is an excellent amount of money to be able to achieve the life goals that you have. Second, you must be able to work from anywhere. And I literally mean anywhere. Every single dollar that you earn should come fully from a laptop. Otherwise, you're not really a digital nomad, are you? And the third, and this one is underrated, you should have full control of your time. Okay, so many people quit their job to become a digital nomad because they want freedom, but then they build a business, which means they have to be online on their laptop 10 hours per day, or maybe they've got somebody else dictating when they need to work and when they can't work. But ultimately, true freedom is having your own business where you can create your own schedule with your own clients that fits around your life. Okay, so 90 days to digital nomad. Okay, so there's 3 stages to becoming a digital nomad within 30 days. The first stage is 0 to 30 days. And this is all going to be about your offer. So the first thing we're going to learn in this video is how to create an offer which monetizes your skills so that you can earn money from anywhere in the world and get paid really well for it. Second part of this video is going to be what you need to do from 30 to 60 days. This is going to be focused on everything to do with clients, how to get your first clients, how to monetize those clients, and how to keep them. And the last part is going to be 60 to 90 days. And we're going to call this section freedom. This is everything about how to detach yourself from your existing country, how to build a business that fully self-sustains only from a laptop, and then where you should probably live, to be honest, because I've got some recommendations for you, so you want to stick to the end of the video for that. So let's crack on and start at the beginning on day 0. Okay, so the first part of becoming a digital nomad is building an offer. And what is an offer? An offer is what you offer to be able to do for somebody in exchange for the money that they give you. And that could be anything from building a website to giving them a coaching session to doing their taxes. I'm going to show you how to find the right offer for you that is perfectly aligned with the digital nomad lifestyle that you want to achieve. So in order to be able to find your offer, we're going to use the SCOPE framework. The S in SCOPE stands for skill. Most people get this wrong because they start with the problem that they want to solve or the business idea that they have. But ultimately, if you don't have the skills to fulfill that, then it's going to take you a long time to learn those skills before you can monetize it and create a business. So the first thing you need to do is look at the skills that you have and then identify what you're best at, what you're one of one at, what you're better than anyone else at. And then that is going to be the thing that we're going to monetize our skills around and leverage against becoming a digital nomad and building that business. So we're looking at what you know, what you're skilled at, and what your experience aligns with. Once you've identified your skill, which again could be doing somebody's taxes, or it could even be being a video editor, then we're going to address the core problem. It's all well and good having a skill, but the problem that you attack is very relevant to how much money you earn. So in the accountant example, if you have skills in bookkeeping, if you're doing bookkeeping for individuals who want to submit their personal tax return, then you might only be able to charge $1,000 once a year to do that. However, if you're able to be a fractional bookkeeper for larger companies, they might pay you a retainer of $1,000 or $2,000 per month. There's a huge difference between those two things. So what you want to do is attack a problem which is very high value. Once you've identified that high value problem that you're going to solve, then you need to address the outcome that you're going to help them achieve. The reason that I say outcome is because if you're just selling your time as a service, then you're always going to be paid by the hour. And then again, you're not going to have the freedom that you want as a digital nomad because you're going to have to be glued to your laptop all the time. So the reason we focus on outcomes is because you want to sell an outcome, not an input, not a unit of time. And therefore, you want to address what is the outcome that the client wants. So if you're an accountant, you're looking for an outcome of they're going to save money because you know all of the tax loopholes, okay? And they're also going to save time. And pretty much all business propositions ultimately lead to two things. You're going to make people more money, or save them money in this case, and then you're going to allow them to have more time because you're going to take work off of their plate. A good outcome is essential to selling your offer, which again, essential to making money. Once we've got the outcome, then we're going to put together the package. The package is exactly what you're going to offer to be able to get someone to the outcome. So it's directly linked to the outcome. And you need to put together a package which almost guarantees that that person gets the outcome. So for example, I own a done-for-you marketing agency where I work predominantly on LinkedIn. And then I take founders and CEOs and then scale their LinkedIn to help them get clients. I know that it works because I control the process fully. I pick their brain to be able to get the content. We then produce all of the content by hand. We do all of the copywriting, the graphic design, and then we also run a full-scale outreach program that we've been doing for many people before, and I have a full system that I know 100% works. And then ultimately they only need to give me 30 minutes per week of their time, and then I can all but guarantee an outcome with this package because I know what all of the steps are to be able to get a client from LinkedIn, and therefore the outcome is very clear and it's very easy to package. So you need to think about your services when you package them. What is the outcome that you want them to achieve, and then what is the absolute necessary inputs that need to be achieved to get them to that outcome. And then you create a package. And when you create a package, you're talking about how long does it take in terms of time frame, and then also what are the inputs, how much time from them. I've got this coaching program, or I've got this web development, and I can take you from 0 to X within certain time frame. So you've identified a package, and then from there, it's all about execution. Execution is where you're actually doing something, and this is where you're going to ask for X amount of dollars. When it comes to pricing, then you need to price. You know, a lot of people traditionally in business, they're saying people are looking for a 4x return on investment to be able to invest their money. For me, you need to provide them with a 10x return on investment. For example, in my agency, imagine we charge $1,000 a month. I need to be able to find contracts for that client that are worth $10,000. Therefore, I've 10x their money. So I'm looking for outsized returns where my skills can achieve a massive return on investment for the client, and therefore it becomes a no-brainer for them. And also because you're pitching clients at that point that have money, then it's much easier for them to say yes to the offer because $1,000 a month just isn't really a big deal. So when it comes to execution, you're looking to execute with a massive return on investment. Now, most people just don't put attention here and they jump straight into making content or trying to do sales with a shit offer, and that just doesn't work. You're going to waste all of your time, and then you're going to generate leads, and then when you pitch them, they're going to say it's not something that they need. So ultimately, the reason we're spending 30 days here is because without this, none of the business stands up. So you need to walk through the scope framework to produce the offer that you need to produce, and then we're going to be able to execute on that with the content, which I'm going to share with you how to do now. Okay, so step 2, this is what we're going to do from 30 to 60 days, and we're going to call this clients, because I know you all want clients, right? So basically, we're going to focus this around getting our first 5 clients within these days, because if we're selling a high ticket offer at $1,000 a month, which I believe that we probably should be with the skills that you have, then between 30 and 60 days, then you only need to sell 5 clients. If you're going to sell services for $100 a month, then you're going to have to sell 500 clients. Then that's really difficult to do. Is that the right math? 500 times $100 a month to make $5,000 would be 500 clients, yeah. Okay, and in order to achieve those clients, then we're going to use a business growth ladder that starts with the platform content you're going to post, then we're going to do sales. Okay, most people get confused here, and don't even start here because they're scared of doing sales. But that's probably why they fail. Okay, so now we've got the offer sorted out. Let's start with the platform. The platform is basically the area or the channel that you're going to use to be able to leverage your skills and sell your offer. There's only 4 ways that you can make money, okay? It's through content, ads, sales, and referral. Since it's a new business and you probably don't have that much budget and you don't want to spend $3,000 a month on ads, then we're going to cross ads off the list, okay? Then because it's a new business, probably don't have that many referrals, right? Because you haven't done any work yet. Let's cross out referrals, which leaves us with content and sales, which are both on here. So let's figure out how to do that. So there's specific platforms that are more effective than others. For example, if you want to sell makeup or skin cream, then TikTok and Instagram are actually pretty good. Although they do have downsides, they're both super saturated. It's not easy to send anyone a DM, which makes it very difficult to do sales. So ultimately, I rarely recommend them to people, especially if you're trying to sell a high ticket offer. It's not the easiest place to start. One place that is pretty effective is YouTube. However, it's really high effort to make a video like this. Like, look at all of the equipment that I have and look at how much time and effort I'm putting into this video. And if you're not doing the same amount of time and effort, how are you going to beat me or somebody else that is doing that? So I wouldn't recommend starting with YouTube for most people, even though it's an effective platform. That can come down the line, but majority of people should probably start on LinkedIn. The reason why, it needs content. It's a new platform. There's not that many creators on there. Well, it's new to becoming an influencer or a salesperson anyway. And therefore, when you post, it's a lot easier to get post reach. And also, number two, people on there are pretty smart. When you think about people using LinkedIn, these are executives, they're CEOs, they're founders, the people that actually have money to buy your high ticket thing. Okay, so I'd recommend that. Number three, it's like any content, because you can post written content, post photos, carousels, infographics, videos. So if you hate being on video, this is the place to be. You never have to appear on video. You don't even have to take a photo. You can just write written text on infographics and you can educate people on the topic. That's why for most people I recommend LinkedIn. Also, you can do sales on LinkedIn. When you send a DM on LinkedIn, it goes directly into someone's inbox, providing you're connected with them. Whereas on Instagram, for example, it goes into their message request, and that's basically a spam folder. Doesn't really work in the same way for sales. However, it does depend on the type of business. I'm not an absolutist on LinkedIn. Clearly I post YouTube videos. Clearly I'm on other platforms, but it's just the easiest place to start. So that's why I'm kind of giving you a heads up here. So once you've chosen the platform, then let's talk about the content that we're going to post. The thing is, most people think that they can just post content and then they're going to get all of these inbound leads, and that's probably because that's what most of the influencers tell you. Sorry to tell you this, it's not true, especially in the first 60 days. Okay, it takes a couple of years to be able to build up the kind of credibility. People need to see you a lot before they reach out to you. Don't get your expectations too high and then start posting and then get disappointed after a week that nobody messaged and gave you $1,000. Just be realistic. So it's not really about content that gets views, it's actually about posting content that gets you authority. Okay, what is authority? Authority is when you provide education and then somebody sees you as an expert in that space, as the go-to person. The reason I create this content is so that I can look like an authority in the remote business space, because I'm giving actionable, authoritative advice. And therefore, if you want to buy a product or get someone to help you with that, then you're going to come to me because I'm offering the free value and then I've built that credibility. And then how do you build authority? You provide education, okay, create educational posts about your topic. Then you're posting client results. If you don't have any clients, then you post your results. You've learned a skill to get to where you are. You might have done it in the workplace. You can talk about that. You might have done it for yourself. If you've already got 5,000 followers on social media, you can post, here's how I gained my first 5,000 followers. If you're an accountant, you can post how I saved $3,000 on my taxes last year with this one simple hack. Okay, you can talk about yourself. You're an excellent test subject that you can use. You're a great case study. So leverage that in your content. And also add some personality that relates to client results. It's all about lived experience, because if you're an accountant and you want to create content about doing taxes, typing into ChatGPT, write me a post with 10 hacks that everyone needs to know when they file their taxes this year, it's going to give you generic fluff that anyone could get from Google. That's why your content doesn't work. That's why 99% of content doesn't work. You need to do stuff in real life and then post about it online. That's real value. And then when you do this, your content will attract the right audience, because these people will read your education and save it and apply it. They will see your results and then they'll be impressed by that. And then ultimately they'll vibe with your personality. And all of those three things will then make them more receptive when you try to do sales, which again you shouldn't miss. So the sales supports your content. This is where most people go wrong. They think that you either do content or sales. Actually, based on my data, and I send thousands of LinkedIn DMs and DMs on other platforms. When you're posting good educational content or content that people resonate with, the response rate is double or triple. So really these two things go hand in hand, and ultimately sales just speeds things up. If you want to post content for 3 years and hope you get some leads, that's up to you. But ultimately, you're probably just scared of sending sales DMs because you're scared of rejection or somebody's going to tell you to fuck off, which to be honest, like never happens. So as long as you follow this process, it won't anyway. So every day you want to be connecting with ICPs. ICP is ideal customer profile. These are your ideal buyers. So you want to be connecting with them on social media. If that's on LinkedIn, you send them connection requests. If it's on Instagram, you're following them, liking their posts to make sure that they see you. Okay, you need to find a way to do that on whatever platform that you're on. Okay, you're starting conversations with them. You're not pitch slapping them from the first minute. You're messaging them something along the lines of, hey, I came across your profile and I saw you're doing this, this and that. I had some free advice about how you can do it better. Mind if I share it with you? Notice that you're always asking them a question in that first conversation. You're not pitching them. Then you can find out what their problems are because they'll tell you. If they don't respond, they're not a lead. If they respond saying, hey, yeah, this is what I'm working on, they're a lead, okay? Because like people pretty much already know that you have some kind of product if you're reaching out and asking questions about their business. So they're confirming they're a lead when they reply. Then you listen to what their problem is, you offer them advice, and then you have the call. And then from the call, you sell them to make money. It's actually not that complicated. You can do all of that within 30 days and then build a 5K a month income. Like, it's really not that complicated. If you're selling $1,000 a month, you only need 5 clients at $1,000 each. As long as you're on the right platform, you're posting content, you're doing sales outreach, then it's going to work. Ultimately, none of that means anything if you're not able to sustain it and it's not actually viable to be done anywhere in the world and fully from a laptop. I've been a digital nomad now for 7 years and I've learned a lot about how to manage a business remotely during that time. I've also lived in a lot of countries, around 10 countries. So I'm going to explain to you the best places to live and the way that you can manage your business online so you can have total freedom. And we're going to talk about that now. Okay, day 60 to 90, freedom, which is what we're all living for, right? Like, I literally started all of this for freedom. So before I became a digital nomad, I left school at 16, worked in car insurance office, worked in warehouse, putting water pumps together. When I had nothing to do, I worked in a meatpacking factory. Ultimately, I ended up becoming a ski instructor and working at indoor ski slope. And ultimately, I never really got what I wanted because I was always stuck in a warehouse, working for someone else, looking at digital nomad videos on YouTube and wondering how I could make that a reality. And when I didn't have any skills and I'd left school, it just didn't feel possible. But with everything that I've taught you in this video, then it did become possible. And I can guarantee that even if you've done your A-levels or you've done any kind of further education or you've got any kind of relevant work experience and you've got way more skills than I have, so you should be able to make this happen. There's no excuses with this roadmap. So now the question becomes, how much money do I need to exit my current job? How do I make the business work from any time zone, and where should I live? So first, let's talk about the exit. Let's put it in red. Red's an exit color, right? Okay, you'll notice, especially if you're from the UK or the US or any other developed country like that, once you get 3K a month, then anywhere else in the world is pretty viable, to be honest. I'm talking about Spain or Portugal or Greece, talking about Bali or Thailand or Vietnam, and I'm also talking about Mexico or Colombia or any of the other South American countries. So that's why, like, I know this video is about making 5K a month, but even if you're making 3K a month, then you can start planning your exit. Like, just know that it's highly dependent on the country. So, for example, I live in Bali. It's become a lot more expensive than it used to be. Probably want to be, like, that's the bare minimum for me to live here. Whereas if you want to live in Vietnam, like, honestly, you can do like 2K a month or even 1K a month. It's about half there, the cost of living compared to Bali. If you want to live in Europe, then you're going to need like 5K a month. Realistically, because if you want to live in Spain and have a nice villa, which you probably do, then that's the kind of amount of money that you would want to make. But ultimately, at either of these numbers, I would hand in your notice at your job. Because the great thing is, like, sure, if you hit these numbers within 30 days, as we discussed previously, there's no guarantee that that's going to continue. But if you hand in your notice, then you're kind of showing your hand that this is going to happen. And then if your back's against the wall and then you have to continue earning that money and increasing your income, then you'll just do whatever it takes to make it happen. So that's the exit. Then once you've handed in your notice, we can talk about the move. Again, I would recommend starting with somewhere cheap cheap compared to what we used to where I'm from in the UK anyway, which is pretty much everywhere, because it takes the pressure off you and then keeps your expenses low so that you can keep focusing on building your business and actually enjoying your life, going to the beach, whatever your priorities are, without too much stress. And that's probably one of the biggest benefits of being a digital nomad. So you're looking for somewhere that's affordable, and then ultimately, like most people start in Southeast Asia, you're probably wondering why. It's because it's cheaper than everywhere else, and then it's safer than everywhere else. Like South America's quite affordable, but then it's not really as safe as being in Thailand or Bali or Vietnam, because ultimately here, like, there's not very much crime and you can walk around at night and then not have to worry about anything, which is not going to be the case in some other places. Even where I'm from in the UK, it's probably a lot safer than there. The main thing with the move is that don't overthink it. So I had a mate that just moved here from the States, and then he was like thinking about a bunch of stuff that he needs to bring, and suddenly his case was getting up to like 40 kilograms, and he was wondering how much money he needed to have saved. Ultimately, he moved here with like a small salary and like almost no savings, and then he just brought like 15 kilograms worth of stuff. Like, what do you actually need? If you're going to move all the time, you don't want to have a huge suitcase full of stuff. That's really annoying. And then you don't need to overthink it, because pretty much everything that you can get in your home country, you can get here as well. Like, because you're already doing revenue, then you don't really need that much savings. And then because the cost of living is so cheap, then you don't need to think about anything. And ultimately, like for accommodation and transport, you can literally land here and then find a place to live like within an hour. Once you're here, the goal is to design a life you actually want. When I say design, because like where I'm from in the UK, life is pretty much decided for you, because when you grow up, you're put through this education system, then you have to go to university, then you're pigeonholed into this one sector, then you have to join this job and there's a specific structure you have to be in line with, and then you feel very out of control of your life, and it's all very suffocating. But being a digital nomad is all about freedom, and therefore you can design the life that you want to live for yourself. And that means, again, coming back to structure, you actually need to make a plan for what you want to live. So in order to do that, you make a life plan, and you talk about revenue goals, work, hours, hobbies. Okay, and I'm going to include travel under hobbies. And then you work towards that. If you're happy earning 5k a month, then you want to optimize for reducing the number of working hours so you can spend more time doing CrossFit and stuff. Then that's totally up to you. If you want to grow a business where you're earning $20,000 a month, then you might want to focus more on work and just spend all of your time on the co-working space. But either way, be realistic about what your life plan is, and then work towards that in a structured goal setting fashion. Okay, and I've got a video about that. It's called the STAR framework, which is the framework which you can use to achieve any goal, literally, which I tested on 147 coaching clients, and I'll link to that video right here. But for now, you just need to know it's not actually that complicated to become a digital nomad. You need one skill, one offer, one acquisition channel, and one laptop. That's it. And if you want me to go into more depth about the frameworks that I use to get clients from social media, build my business, make money online, then make sure you subscribe to this channel and follow along with me for more of that information.